A very good evening to you and Eid Mubarak to all those celebrating. You're just in time for NTV Tonight. These are the top stories.
Tonight, the Malik Heights arson attack caught on camera.
Nikasikia kitu kama boom. Unaona? Sasa kule kutoka nje nikaona gari moja inawakataa.
Police on the hunt for main suspect.
Also tonight, it's a gangster's paradise in Mombasa. The gangs on the prowl in Kisauni and their footprints of fear and violence.
Alikuwa kama ambaye atakunikata lakini bahati tu ilikuja kwa ubavu wa panga.
Plus,
there has never been a better time for Parliament to assert its authority. We've sacrificed so much.
MPs are locked and loaded in their fight for their millions ahead of tomorrow's informal sitting.
And a happy ending to what was a miserable tale. Missing student of St. Stephen's Girls Machakos reunited with her mother.
Kakuta mtoto wangu ako kwa mlango. Mimi ni machozi tu nilikuwa namwagika tu machozi.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai and Smriti Vidyarthi.
Shukran for joining us on NTV Tonight, and Eid Mubarak to our sign language interpreter, David Agondoa. I really would want to see how he signs that. But yes, thank you for joining us, and Eid Mubarak to the viewers joining us from all over the country and internationally as well. To our top story, MPs are seeking legal ways of fighting the SRC if the salaries body maintains the fight against house allowance for MPs.
Legislators also aim to punish the judiciary by cutting its budget if it sides with petitioners who are against the allowance.
MPs will be attending an informal meeting or kamukunji slated for Thursday morning as they fight to keep the house allowance that they have received since April, when a lump sum of 2 million shillings was paid per MP as backdated figure since August last year.
NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Moredi with that story.
The push for more parks for MPs has been a thorny issue for some time now, with Kenyans scrutinizing every attempt made. In April this year, the MPs received a lump sum payment of close to 1 billion shillings, being money for housing allowance that has accrued over a period of 8 months.
Broadcast on you.
MPs received between 1.5 million shillings and 2 million shillings each. MPs say the housing allowance is an entitlement they are ready to safeguard and entrench in law.
We've sacrificed so much. We've let so much, be played around. We've let so much go for the sake of serving the people of Kenya.
Homa Bay MP Peter Kaluma says the incessant fight for allowances is informed by the pay and demands they have. For instance, as captured in this payslip, the basic salary for this particular member of parliament for this particular month is 319,500 shillings. There is another figure captured as administrative KNA, which is 213,000 for that particular month. He or she received a sitting allowance of 37,500 shillings, a telephone allowance of 10,000 shillings, and a vehicle fixed cost of 356,525 shillings, which is a constant figure every month. This is before deductions, thus amounting to about 936,525 shillings. Also, those from far-flung areas that are not within the Nairobi metropolitan are entitled to mileage which is reimbursed as per the trips one makes to their constituency.
We have sitting allowance of 5,000 shillings per meeting. If you are lucky to attend the 4 parliamentary sessions we have in a week, you are talking of 5 by 4, which is 20,000. If you are in a committee and you are lucky to have 2 meetings in a week, and then in a month you are talking again about 8. So essentially, assume you get the optimum 60,000 gross. Take 30% out of it. You are making people think there are some allowances we are wrecking, when ultimately it comes to below 40,000.
According to MPs who will have a Kamkunji this Thursday, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is playing politics with the issue of their packs. In an application filed at the courts, SRC argues that MPs cannot receive mortgage and housing allowances at the same time.
Barely 5% of members of parliament have taken that mortgage. Why? MPs cannot afford it. MPs cannot afford it. And when I took mine at 20 million, which I'm telling you about, I remained with a pay of 42 shillings.
Homa Bay MP Peter Kaluma says the period for an MP to repay their mortgage is based on the period of service, which is 5 years, thus upping the repayment amount. Kaluma says MPs have had the time to interrogate this matter in depth, and now they draw their argument from Section 31 of the Employment Act, which states an employer shall at all times at his own expense provide reasonable housing accommodation for each of his employees, either at or near to the place of employment, or shall pay the employee such sufficient sum as rent in addition to the wages or salary of the employee, as will enable the employee to obtain reasonable accommodation.
MPs are living down along River Road. You hear of MPs being assaulted in places they should not be found. I one time dropped a colleague from Coast Province to a residential unit they are living at in Kilimani, only to find 3 MPs, all squatting in a servant quarter. They have put double-deckers like in our previous dormitories.
Members of Parliament insist that their clamour for these allowances will be relentless, as they believe that they are asking for what is rightfully theirs for the service they do for Kenyans. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV at Parliament Buildings.
All right, well, that informal meeting takes place tomorrow morning, and we will no doubt bring you the outcome of that. Elsewhere, a fresh row is brewing between Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi and the Kenya Railways over land on which the senator is rebuilding a car wash and bazaar businesses.
The structure, which is located close to the Nyayo National Stadium, has been undergoing reconstruction quietly, despite claims that the land it sits on is public land, and which led to its demolition in February this year.
NTV's Silas Apollo has more.
Just a few meters along Aerodrome Road, the rebuilding of what has become rubble of a once vibrant car wash and car bazaar business is ongoing. The structure, which is located adjacent to the Nyayo National Stadium and which was demolished in February after claims that it was built on Kenya Railway Land Reserve, was today a hive of activity. When NTV visited the site today, we found business going on as usual, with some of the attendants washing carpets. Welders were also busy fixing some of the broken parts as works to restore the structure continue in top gear. At one point, one of the security officers manning the area almost blocked us from taking pictures on the ongoing works. The structure, which has been linked to Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi, has attracted controversy, with claims that the land it sits on was grabbed from the public. But Senator Wamatangi, who declined to comment on the ongoing reconstruction, has defended the land the building sits on, saying that he has documents to prove rightful ownership.
Absolutely not above the law. If somebody comes and says, Wamatangi, your team has been here, by the way, we have been there for 20 years. What was happening was a convergence of interest of people probably who thought that they can take the place where we have been, and do their business, and others who just hate you for who you are and whichever community you come from.
Efforts by NTV to get a comment from the Kenya Railways management proved futile, as our phone calls and messages went unanswered. But Kenya Railways has previously insisted that the structure was erected on the land illegally, and which formed part of the reasons why it was demolished. The February demolitions also extended to the Prime Place restaurant and other adjacent structures and facilities on the railway land. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Let's now switch focus to the protracted battle between the government and the teachers over the implementation of the new competence-based curriculum.
Well, the government on one hand has been firm that the rollout will continue. A resolve emboldened by an allocation of 2.4 billion shillings by Parliament's Education Committee for the implementation of the CBC.
This past week, a team of 100 experts have been going round schools to monitor the teaching and understanding of the new curriculum in public schools. But teachers' unions have been pushing back.
Well, as a result, around 280 teachers have been interdicted for boycotting or disrupting training on the new curriculum. Now, this is despite a ruling by the Employment and Labour Relations Court stopping the TSC from taking any disciplinary action until a case filed by NUT is determined.
The Kenya National Union of Teachers now accuses TSC of disobeying court orders after TSC removed these teachers from the payroll. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga has the details.
For 1 month now, teachers who are suspended by the Teachers Service Commission have not reported to their schools. This is despite the Employment and Labour Relations Court ordering TSC not to take any disciplinary action against the teachers until a case filed by NUT is determined.
It is no use for the Ministry and TSC to conspire to intimidate teachers. The facts of the challenges and the gaps of the new curriculum will not go away in terms of teacher training.
In April, the Ministry of Education organized for teachers training on the competency-based curriculum that targeted more than 90,000 teachers. But NUT, which has termed the rollout as illegal, advised its members not to attend the training. Some of their branch officials disrupted the exercise in a number of centers.
A curriculum cannot be politically imposed, but it is professionally qualified by due process. That as a union, we are never opposed to two things: curriculum reform and review. We are never. The right things must be done.
TSC interdicted over 280 teachers who NUT says have been removed from the payroll. Most of those affected are head teachers, deputy head teachers and NUT officials. NUT also pointed out issues that they want addressed in the collective bargaining agreement set to be implemented from 1st July 2021.
The salary disparities, particularly those of low-earning classroom teachers, which was not well addressed by the last CBA. And so the salary compression ratio should be addressed. All CBAs, for purposes of changes in inflation so that workers are not hurt, should be concluded and cleared within 2 years.
Sharon Baranga, NTV.
To one of our highlighted stories, and police are searching for the main suspect in what now seems to be an arson incident that led to the Malik Heights building fire.
NTV has obtained closed-circuit television camera footage that shows a man identified as Abdirizak Yusuf Ado enter the building, go to a basement parking with what looked like a jerry can, after which a fire started.
Al Hussein Car Bazaar managers say they know Abdirizak. Here's NTV's Anita Nkonge with the details.
Like something out of a Hollywood action movie, a man who Al Hussein Car Bazaar owners identify as Abdirizak Yusuf Ado is seen here dressed in a well-fitting suit and a motorbike helmet to hide his identity, and a jerry can believed to contain fuel. He is walking into Malik Heights building along Gong Road. He is a man on a mission and headed towards the Al Hussein Motors Limited car show parking lot. He then proceeds to light a Prado VX on fire before fleeing the premises. According to the owners of Al Hussein Motors, Abdirizak was a broker at the company, but it is not yet known what may have triggered his criminal outburst. His whereabouts are still not known as police intensify their search for him. The Car Bazaar owners say he was well known here. He worked for them as a salesman whose work was to basically broker sales on commission basis. On Tuesday, DCI detectives from the regional office picked the CCTV footage that appears to point a finger at Abdirizak. The suspect has managed to avoid arrest despite a police manhunt for him, with the Car Bazaar owners saying the damage caused by the arson incident runs into hundreds of millions. This is the scene where the fire started. The shells of what were once high-end vehicles litter the entire floor. There was nothing recovered here, just total consuming loss. The fire allegedly broke out at around 8 p.m. on Monday night, and according to a resident and worker in the building, an explosion was heard as the fire broke out.
Nikasikia kitu kama boom. Unaona? Sasa kule kutoka nje nikaona gari moja inawaka moto.
Firefighters and well-wishers worked together to put out the fire and salvage some of the many vehicles parked at the complex. To date, and according to the owners, 69 uninsured vehicles were burnt beyond recognition. These are just remnants of what were once luxury high-end cars. The owners claim it could have all cost over 600 million Kenyan shillings. Police are still yet to find out what could have provoked and caused the arson attack as investigations continue. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Can't make that stuff up. Our police in Mombasa have arrested one person suspected to be a member of a criminal gang that attacked business premises on Monday evening in Kisauni and made away with money and other valuables.
The gang of more than 15 people armed with machetes raided the shops at Barsheba and in the process injured one person who sustained a panga cut on his hand.
Police are also in pursuit of 4 other criminals who were captured on CCTV footage in Ganjoni, breaking into a home and stealing property of unknown value. NTV's Coast reporter Kevin Mutai with the details.
The re-emergence of criminal gangs in Kisauni has once again sent shockwaves among residents and businessmen in the area. This CCTV footage shows how the gang terrorized residents in Beersheba on Monday at around 8 p.m. as they conducted a raid that lasted for approximately 10 minutes. According to witnesses, they were armed with pangas and other crude weapons.
Nilipoona hiyo panga naona si panga hiyo slasher ingatwa mbele. Ikabidi nikavutiwa mimi pia ama vipi nikaenda mbio.
They then descended on the owner of this store and made away with clothes and money. Sadly, a day after, the shop had restocked with pounds of new stock. The gang then attacked and injured a hotel owner who suffered a panga cut on his right hand before making away with his day's sales.
Walikuwa kama boys kama 15 hivi. Just imagine wengine wamevaa kanzu na mapanga. So kuona vile mimi nilianguka. Kupata fahamu washatoka, vitu vimeibwa, wamevunja.
Alinigonga na ubavu wa panga, yani alikuwa kama ambaye atakunikata, lakini bahati tu ilikuja kwa ubavu wa panga. Nikaniwahi mkono, nikaumia mkono.
Police have arrested one person connected to the gang. They say the suspect is helping them with investigations to identify other members who were involved in the attack. Detectives have also revealed that members of the gang are boys between 10 and 18 years of age who are under the influence of drugs and alcohol and are mercilessly attacking and maiming innocent residents. And now residents are asking, what do law enforcement needs to ensure that they deal with these criminal elements once and for all?
But as from tomorrow, we'll be having a section, a police post, purposely for this area, with quite a number of officers.
We urge also the members of the public to assist us, not only in the pursuance of these criminals, but also telling us or informing us who are these dealers of drugs in Kisauni.
Wale wote wanayouza mapanga, maduka, tulikubaliana ya kwamba mtu akinunua panga atuambie jina lake, andipewe receipt.
In a separate incident, CCTV footage also captured 4 thieves breaking into a home in Ganjoni. They used a master key to open the doors and entered into the house, stole valuables of unknown value, including money and electronics. They took approximately more than 10 minutes ransacking the house, and while on their way out, they met with 2 ladies who are believed to be the owners of the house. Police are investigating the matter. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
All right, elsewhere now to Nyeri, and 3 casual labourers were buried alive today while digging a pit latrine in Kiandu Secondary School in Nyeri County after the walls of the pit that they had dug 37 feet down caved in.
The landslide has been attributed to the heavy rains experienced in the area. Operations by the Kenya Red Cross to rescue the trapped men are ongoing. NTV's Melita Oletengis reports.
At around 12 p.m. today, 3 casual laborers who had been contracted by Kiandu Secondary School were busy digging a pit latrine here before a landslide buried them alive. According to their co-workers, they tried containing the situation seconds before tragedy struck.
Kwenda kuangalia ikaonekana hafiki mahali hapo, tukasema tuitishe gazi ndio aweze kupanda angalie ni nini. Kwenda kuendea ngazi hata hatukuiteremsha mchanga tu ikakatika.
The men had dug 37 feet deep and were hoping to complete the job in a few days. Officials from the Kenya Red Cross, Nyeri County Fire Brigade, together with the locals, are continuing with the rescue operations.
Tulikuwa tumefikisha futi 37. Bado tulikuwa tumebakisha juu, ilikuwa inastahili ifika 50. Hii ni kazi ambayo tumezoea. Juu tumeshimba mashimo mingi.
Tukishafika kwa hiyo shimo chini, ndio tutaweza sasa kusonga na hiyo shimo mpaka tupate wale watu. Hakikisho langu ni ya kwamba hatutatoka hapa kama Msalaba Mwekundu na wale watu wengine wa response wako hapa mpaka wakati hao watu watapatikana.
The incident occurred a few days after another toilet collapsed in Diaini Secondary School in Mukurweini, injuring 9 students.
Wakati huu kuna mvua mingi, watu wao waangalifu, na pia kule kuna landslides mingi, especially upande huu wa Mukurweini kuna kuwaga na landslides mingi. Kwa hivyo pia watu wawe waangalifu, mtu awe amejitayarisha kila wakati na wasiwe ama usiwe unavuka mto wakati kumenyesha.
As the rescue operations continue, residents can only hope and pray that the trapped men will come out alive. Melita Oletenges, NTV.
Indeed, if that is possible, definitely we would be praying for the best as the Red Cross team continues with the operation. Quite a sad incident there. And now to some politics. And Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala and Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho have reignited debate on the need for referendum in the country.
The two agree that the idea of changing the constitution could no longer be ignored, but differed on the reasons. They spoke during Eid celebrations in Mombasa.
The national celebrations marking the end of this year's Ramadan, ul-Fitr, were marked in Mombasa, and in attendance a cross-section of political representation. While it was largely a religious occasion, the politicians gathered here could not shy away from addressing the pertinent issues of the day, the question of the country going to referendum, making a comeback.
It is time we should be able to assess. Tangu 2010 tutengeze, tumefikia wapi? Na obviously, hata ukiangalia sasa hivi, my friend, referendum iko, ujipange.
Natamani, nataka kujizungumzia mwenyewe, si kwa sababu mimi ni waziri. Nafikiri ni wakati umefika wa mabadiliko yafanyike na kila mmoja.
The reasons for the referendum, however, differing significantly between the two politicians.
Wanasema katiba inabadilishwa, watu wapewe kazi. Watu hawataki kazi, my friend. Wanataka watu wa Kenya wabadilishe maisha yao. Wanataka kudeal with the issues of exclusion. Tuelewane, rasilimali. We have seen how devolution has worked. How do we strengthen devolution?
Nini hatutengezi katiba wakati wa maridhiano kama haya? Hii inakuwa sasa we are sober and we can talk with our minds clean and no suspicion against each other. Na wacha niwaambie, uongozi unapewana na Mwenyezi Mungu kwanza.
The president, in a message delivered by Interior CS, called for unity for all Kenyans.
Vile gavana amesema na viongozi wengine wamesema, sisi ni wamoja. Wakati wa siasa ya kugawanya sisi sasa umekwisha. Tufanye kazi sisi pamoja, na tunawaunga mkono viongozi wetu wa kitaifa, Mheshimiwa Rais wetu na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga. Wanatuelekeza tukae pamoja. Mheshimiwa Rais anawaomba na anatuomba sisi tukiwa wananchi wa Kenya, hasa nyinyi tukisherekea wakati huu, tutafute mbinu na tuhamazishe wananchi wetu kukaa pamoja na kuishi pamoja kama ndugu, kama jamii moja, kama familia.
Referendum issues aside, the Mombasa governor castigated politicians seemingly opposed to the 4-month deadline on the phasing out of the 1,000 shillings notes.
Hawajatojo, washajitaja. Oh, hatuna pesa. Oh, mnasema mabilioni basi kesho.
The Mombasa leaders also took the interior CS to task over the state of transport infrastructure in the region. They asked this of him in his role as the head of the National Development Implementation and Communication Cabinet Committee. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
All right, we are approaching 1:30 here on NTV tonight. Time for a quick breather, but coming up after the break,
we'll be looking at how waste pickers are turning trash to treasure while helping clear up the piling filth of plastic waste.
We'll bring you the details up next. Welcome back. Now, a student from St. Stephen's Girls' School in Machakos, who disappeared 3 months ago, has been found.
The student's disappearance caused her mother panic, and she reported the case, which led to Standard Group media journalist staffers who were attacked by students and the school's principal. Students
appeared at the mother's house this afternoon. NTV's Helen Wanjohi with the details.
Mary Mukami, her mother, claims that she called the school to ask about the closing date, and that's when she was informed by the principal that Helen had not been in school for the past 3 months.
Pia nikasikia venye nikaribia ofisi nikasikia principal akisema sasa anataka nifanye nini, na mimi nikaingia nikamsalimia. Kumsalimia akalizangu, unataka nifanye nini? Na mtoto wako kuja shule, unataka nifanye nini? Sasa sina time yako ya kuongea, niko na mambo mingi.
Her mother claims that she was informed by Helen's peers that she had attended school for the first 3 days of the term before being kicked out. As for Helen, she can only recall the first 3 days of her in school, where she says she gave the principal the bank slip.
Nikapatia principal your bank slip, akaandika. Kuandika ndo nikaenda kwa dom. So kaenda kwa dom nikakaa hiyo day. Kishake ndio siku nyingine ndo akanifukuza. Sasa kunifukuza nikaenda hapo kwa gate juu unajua huwezi toka hivyo. Nikasema nimetoka nje just fees. Sasa kutoka juu sia tupandianga hapo gari tunapandianga makutano, tukaenda kupandia makutano. Kupandia hapo nikabai maji. Kwa maji after that misijui kulienda.
The rest she says she cannot remember.
Nilikuwa tunazunguka pesa nyingi nilikuwa na pocket money, nilikuwa na buy food, nikabuy nguo, kwa tunabuy chakula na kula, zingine hadi nalala kwa kibanda.
Ukiwa your steps au kwa fikira ku call mom kumwambia?
Sikuwa nakumbuka kitu.
Helen says that a good Samaritan came to her rescue and helped her get home.
Kulikuwa na mama mwenye anapanda gari. Nikamwambia kapanda gari, mimi hadi sijui penye tulipandia gari. Kafika mimi hadi sijui vile tulifika town. Nikamwambia gari za kwetu zinakwanga railways, zinaitwa stabas za yellow. Sasa vile nilimwambia hivyo, akaniambia fee inakwanga pesa ngapi? Mimi nikamwambia fee inakwanga 50 bob kutoka hapo mpaka kwetu. Ndo akanipatia hiyo 50 bob. Kunipatia 50 bob ndo nikapanda.
Her primary school teacher refutes claims that Helen could have eloped with someone or could have purposely run away from school.
She was not having fun, because if she was having fun, she would not have come. And she would not have come the way she has come. She has just come with the only clothing that she was putting on.
The neighbors first saw her standing outside their doorstep and called her mother. The principal of the school, John Chalo, has since been arrested and the school closed, pending more investigations. Helen Wanjohi, NTV.
Well, at least the girl has resurfaced, is safe from what we see, but we still have many unanswered questions, and also we have to pursue the case on the attack on the journalists. On to something that we've been enjoying all day, and that is the holiday. Most of you Muslim faithful worldwide celebrated ul-Fitr to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan.
In Kenya, leaders urged the government to liaise better with the Muslim faithful to reduce confusion between the dates, as was experienced this year.
Eid prayers continued across the country as Kenyans enjoyed the holiday.
Ul-Fitr is the culmination of 29 or 30 days of dawn to dusk fasting during the holy month of Ramadan. There was a controversy over the sighting of the moon, with a section of Muslims ignoring the chief Qadhi's death. Muslims hope the government can work with their leaders to ensure the same is not repeated next year.
Naomba pia kuna Idi nyingine inakuja baada ya miezi miwili, baada ya ibada ya Haji, Idul Adha. Tunaomba pia iwe gazetted, iwe ni moja katika zile official public holidays kwa Waislamu wote na Wakenya kwa jumla.
Chief Qadhi Ahmed Muhdar led the Muslims in breaking the fast at Ronald Ngala Primary School grounds in Mombasa.
The political class, among them Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho and Mvita MP Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir, called for unity among the Muslims in observing the holy month of Ramadan.
Na ile dhambi ya watu kuteta kwa sababu ya tofauti ni kubwa zaidi kuliko dhambi ya lile jambo ambalo kwamba wanaotetea. Ile kuteta yenyewe, kutokuwa na umoja kwa sababu ya ikhtilafu ya fikra, ni mbaya zaidi watu kuteta.
After the morning prayers, Muslims gathered in Utange for a sumptuous meal of biryani which was shared between neighbors. The luncheon was organized by a food product farm. In Nairobi, a number of Muslims gathered at the Sir Ali Muslim Club for the early morning prayers, where they were encouraged to spread love and live in unity. In Kilifi, Muslims gathered at Masjid Al-Nur Mosque for their prayers, and their leaders encouraged all Kenyans to take part in the celebrations, regardless of their religious affiliation, in order to promote unity. In Eldoret, a section of Muslims held their prayers at Masjid Nur Mosque.
ul-Fitr is celebrated each year to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan, and it is considered one of the major holidays in the Islamic calendar. Mary Beffin, NTV.
Now, it is also World Environment Day today, and much of the world is choking in waste, especially plastic waste.
Nairobi produces more than 2,000 tons of waste a day, but most of it is discarded. But waste pickers have, in their own small ways, been contributing to efforts to clean up.
They pick through trash for plastics for sale and also earn a living, Eunice Omolo reports.
Anthony Ngugi scavenges for plastics from his decayed landmark of Kawangware in Nairobi. For years, he has been scouring for a lifeline from the city's trash.
Hii ndio nalipia keja, nalishia mtoto wangu anasomea ndani hapo. Sijui tungekuwa tunafanya nini. Either ni kushika watu ngeta, kuingia kwa manyumba za watu.
Anthony, birds of prey, stray dogs and other waste pickers comb through tons of garbage in the little landfills in the capital for plastic. For 6 years, father of 3 Michael Kinyanjui has been making a living from collecting and selling plastics. It's just enough to keep his family going. Every evening, he brings his day's collection to this collection point. After weighing, he's paid his dues, fair wages for less than fair work.
In a month, unaweza enda upate 10k. Kiwa poa, even 15k. Kulingana na bidii yako.
A kilogram of plastics features between 15 and 19 shillings, depending on the type.
Unaweza ndo kando na chupa, uende kosa material, so unaona hapo ni hasara bado.
We have one clerk and maybe one cashier to help the clerk to do sorting so that we can dispatch the material to the factory.
The assorted plastics are then sent to this factory, Mr. Green Africa, in Nairobi's Samia Business Park. Here, about 500 kilograms of plastic is sorted, then crushed into pellets before undergoing a rigorous washing process to remove oils and glues. About 260 tons of plastic is recycled every month, made into useful products such as buckets and water tanks.
And that circular economy means that this plastic bottle has a life again after that plastic has been processed and consumed.
The initiative U-Turn Waste Project is a partnership between the Unilever East Africa and Mr. Green Africa.
We as a company want to do is make them shining heroes, that they are really important part of society and they do a very honorable job for all of us here in Kenya to bring back plastics into a more formal system and make it recyclable and more circular.
Venye kazi ilianza, kujata hakuna haja kwenda kutafuta kazi. Wewe asubuhi ukiamka unachukua gunia yako, unapiga lap zako, by the end of the day wewe nyumbani bila unga. So hii ni kitu ya kwanza. Tena hawezi sumbua mtu msee ati nipatie boba manini. Iko sawa. Napenda hapo job yangu.
But if you look at the 2,000 plus jobs that have been created by the waste collectors and combined together with the 90 plus employees that he has given full-time employment, you can see that this is actually an economy that if it became fully circular, you'll even be talking of more jobs.
According to global data on plastic by the UN, 10% of all human-generated waste is plastic. A big part of it ends up in landfills or in water bodies. Nairobi produces about 2,400 tons of waste a day. Roughly 60% of it is collected, but only around 10% is recycled. The rest is dumped or burned. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
Well into them contributing in their own small way. Time for another break, but coming up.
That's right, coming up in just a moment, the details of how Homa Bay County is scaling up the fight against tuberculosis against children.
Stay with us. Difficult to diagnose in children because many do not have access to the most effective tests.
Now, often children with TB will go undiagnosed and be ineffectively treated for many other ailments. Well, Homa Bay County has rolled out a program to curb childhood illness and death from TB.
CAP-TB, which means Catalyzing Pediatric Tuberculosis Innovation, is meant to scale up diagnosis and treatment of TB among children. Rose Wangoi has more.
Mildred is an active 3-year-old living in Homa Bay County. Not long ago, she had become listless and lost interest in playing. She stopped eating and quickly lost weight, which worried her grandmother, Rose Atieno. As time passed, Mildred began to get seizures. Still, health workers could not determine the cause. First, they prescribed antimalarial medication, then treatment for pneumonia. Mildred kept getting worse.
She developed a high fever, started breathing heavily, and broke out in rashes. I was so scared that I would lose her.
After 3 months of unsuccessful treatment, Rose grew increasingly worried about her granddaughter's health. At the hospital, doctors ordered a chest X-ray and moments later explained that Mildred had tuberculosis. She was immediately put on treatment.
Being a pediatric, we gave this dispensable pediatric TB tablets. The weight was also still very low, so we had to do nutritional assessments. Then we started our nutrition support. The intensive phase took two months, Then the continuation took 6 months. She was now gaining weight. There were no fevers, so she was declared healed.
Homa Bay County has rolled out a national program aimed at speedily spotting cases of TB and drug resistance in all suspected cases. The 4-year project catalyzing pediatric tuberculosis innovation, CAP-TB, is funded by United and is being implemented by the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric Foundation, EGPAF, in Turkana and Homa Bay counties.
Like outpatient department, maternal child health, pediatric wards, and all other departments, including nutrition clinics. So we identify those who have symptoms of TB, cough of any duration, prolonged fever, night sweat, and weight loss, and children with contact of TB cases. If a child is in contact with a TB case, then we'll enlist them for testing.
TB is a preventable and curable disease, yet it is the 4th leading cause of death in Kenya. Tuberculosis has often gone untreated in children because it has also gone undetected. But if children get the drugs they need, the outcomes are often better than those of adult patients.
So if you start your treatment immediately, success rate is so high compared when you do late detection.
So if you get a TB case in a facility, then children who are living with that patient, they have to come, what we are calling contact tracing. We scale up pediatric IPT. We are now at around 30% in the county.
According to the World Health Organization, children should account for about 15% of reported TB cases in high-burden countries. EGPAF has trained health workers on how to test for TB.
So we've seen a percentage for pediatric diagnosis increasing over time. So we started at around 7.8%. By end of 2018, we are at 9.2%. So our target as a program is 15%.
The project is expected to detect and treat at least 1,300 children with TB and help to protect more than 5,500 children with latent TB from developing acting TB.
We used to have 82% treatment completion, but for 2017 cohort, when we did analysis last year, we have moved to a high of 88%. The world moves toward ending TB by the year 2030. I think Homa Bay County and Kenya, we really want to be the first to achieve that target by 2030.
The project will be scaled up to 50 facilities. Lessons learned from the scale-up will be used to inform national and global implementation. Rozongoi, NTV.
All right, time now for another break on NTV Tonight.
On the stories coming up, 5 dead. gone missing after heavy rains triggered a series of landslides in eastern Uganda's mountainous Bududa district.
The Uganda Red Cross says around 50 people are believed to be missing and 150 houses destroyed after the landslides in the foothills of Mount Elgon. The local Red Cross branch volunteers, together with local police, joined efforts and retrieved the bodies.
Bududa district, which lies on the border between Uganda and Kenya, is prone to landslides. In 2018, at least 41 people were killed after a river in the region burst its banks, and in 2010, at least 100 people were killed in a landslide in the region.
All right, and also to Sudan. And the army ruler says he's open to negotiations even as gunfire crackled across the capital after a crackdown that doctors' sources say have left close to 100 people dead. Reports said a feared paramilitary group was attacking civilians.
The Central Committee of Sudanese Doctors claimed in a Facebook post that the bodies of 40 protesters were recovered from River Nile.
Well, despite mounting international concern at what demonstrators called a bloody massacre, a bid at the UN Security Council to condemn the killings was blocked by China with support from Russia.
Hospitals in Khartoum said they were struggling to cope with the number of wounded after security forces launched a deadly raid on a week-long sit-in outside army headquarters.
All right, time now for another break on NTV tonight, and the quest for promotion to the Kenyan Premier League is set to go down to the wire.
We'll have the full details of Wazito Kisumu All-Stars and Nairobi Steamer wins today coming up in sports after the break with Brian Otwal.
It's playtime on NTV Sports. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. The top three teams in the National Super League, Wazito FC, Kisumu All-Stars and Nairobi Steamer, won their second last matches in the 2018-2019 season, a scenario that means two of the three will bag automatic qualification to the Kenyan Premier League, while one of the three will play in the KPL NSL playoff against Posta Rangers. Vidyarthi Kiru with the details.
Having taken a tumble in their last match, National Super League leaders Wazito bounced back with an emphatic 4-1 win over Talanta at Camp Toyoyo.
So the only thing unambia ni aje.
jamaa hiyo shaisha imeisha, so una prepare mentally na kigrao ndio utacheza game, wasanayo game ishapita, wafikiri watakula ponja zile ziko mbele yao.
Goals by Amos Asembeka, Collins Neto, Paul Aqua and Wilson Anekea ensured Wazito go into the final day leading the standings on 78 points, a mere point ahead of the two chasing sides.
Wenyewe pale tumefikia si rahisi. Na pale ukiachilia ni ngumu. So tunaomba Mungu pia na tunatafanya juu chini na wachezaji bado fanya nini? Tupate results. Na results ni kupata 3 points sababu tukipata point moja ile ni mbaya.
3 teams, Wazito, Kisumu All-Stars and Nairobi Stima, are separated by a point after 37 matches, a testament to the competitiveness of the NSL.
NSL ni tricky sana. Huwezi taka kucheza hapa miaka 2, miaka 3. Cheza moja afadhali uhepe.
With Wazito turning on the style at the Camp Toyoyo grounds at their main challenges, Kisumu All-Stars were also in action in Kisumu. In the lakeside city of Kisumu, second-placed Kisumu All-Stars kept tabs on Wazito with a 4-2 win over Green Commandos. 2 goals by Eric Otieno and 1 each by Ian Motanda and Dismas Amunga ensured Kisumu going to the final day on 77 points, just a point behind Wazito. This as third-placed Nairobi Stima saw off Shabana 2-0 to lie third on 77 points but with an inferior goal difference to Kisumu. The day's results mean Ushuru, coached by Ken Kenyatta and who lie fourth, will fail to make a return to the Kenyan Premier League for yet another season. Warote Kiru, NTV.
And Egypt will represent Zone 5 at the Africa Games qualifiers that win after winning their third game, seeing off Kenya 3-1 at the Kasarani Indo Arena. Boasting over 100% winning record, the Pharaohs won the first set 25-19 before resurgent Kenya won the second set 25-23 to tie the game at 1-1. Egypt came back stronger to win the third set 28-26 before Moses Epoloto's side lost concentration for Egypt to bag the fourth set 25-20 and emerge victorious. Earlier, Uganda defeated Rwanda 3-1 to maintain hopes of qualifying as the best loser from the zone. Kenya finished last with 2 points, with Rwanda third on 3 points. And Kenya is no doubt one of the athletics powerhouses in the world, having dominated medium and long distance races over the years in various competitions. But for continuity of the dominance, there is need to tap talent from early stages and also inculcate technology in various aspects. Our reporter Gabriel Kudaka has the details.
At Mindililwo Estate in the outskirts of Iten town within Elgeyo-Marakwet County, we catch up with Thomas Komen, an athlete preparing for his morning training session. Komen, who has been competing in various road races for close to 20 years now, is preparing for yet another race in Morocco in 2 weeks' time. Among his essential tools of trade is his watch.
Watches, kuna watches ambayo ni ya kisasa ambayo itatusaidia wakati tunafanya mazoezi kuchikage umekimbia 1 kilometer how many minutes.
This way, Komen and his training partners are able to monitor their training closely and also determine their diet in order to replenish the burnt calories.
Itakusaidia wakati una refer kwa computer, inakupatia yale chakula ambayo itakusaidia in order to recover ama to replace the lost calories.
Most of the athletes' lives revolve around technology, ranging from booking of the races to payments, and those who are technologically challenged sometimes end up being duped by cons posing as agents.
Kabla hujaenda kushiriki huko ng'ambo, unaenda kwa cyber, unajaribu identify ile races ambayo ni competitive ama less competitive, alafu una link na website ya the race organizer, alafu una apply, alafu later on unakuwa considered.
Kenya showed some promise in the just concluded IAAF World Relays, having finished third behind US and Canada, with pundits attributing the Western countries' success to the technological advances. Many athletes have in the past missed out on golden opportunities due to digital illiteracy, but this could be a thing of the past thanks to a digital literacy program that has seen learners exposed to computers at an early age. The program that is being implemented by the ICT authority is aimed at equipping learners with digital skills so that they can leverage on technology to improve their lives.
Ilikuwa ni ngumu sana pia kupima urefu na umbali ambaye mkimbiaji amekimbia, lakini kwa sasa imekuwa afueni.
As he nears retirement, Komen regrets not having represented his country in any championships. A dream he says could have come true had his talent been discovered at an early stage. However, he is positive that the new competency-based curriculum, which seeks to identify and nurture learners' talents and abilities at an early age, as well as exposing them to technology, will go a long way to cement Kenya's top position in the athletics world. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV Sports.
And the AFC Leopards elections are set for the 23rd of this month, and the nomination stage was closed yesterday with former Kenyan international Boniface Ambani and current chairman of the AFC Leopards rescue team Maurice Amakwa failing to make it through to the nomination stage in their quest to be Ingwe chairman, while current organizing secretary Oscar Igaida also failing to get the clearance.
Pana Ben Msundi ambaye ni pia anagombea mwenyekiti, Ronald Namai na Dan Shikanda. Mtizama hapa hawa ni wenyekiti wa branches zote za AFC Leopards. Na wako nyuma yetu kwamba tuko katika right path na tunafanya uchaguzi ambao ni huru na haki. Na kwamba kuhakikishia tu wanachama wa klabu ya AFC Leopards kwamba uchaguzi upo tarehe 23, usalama upo wa kutosha. Wewe kuja piga kura, tutapata ofisi ambayo itaendesha mambo ya AFC Leopards.
Gianni Infantino was re-elected FIFA president unopposed at the Congress of World Football's governing body in Infantino.
The sports desk, as well as the entire desk, that made this bulletin possible. Thank you for watching. My name is Mark Masai. Have yourself a good night. Smriti, unaka smart.
Thank you. I'm in trousers tonight. Yeah. All right. Thanks to you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.